It's not fair. Who do you think you?
My husband baked a birthday cake for me. My mother-in-law screamed at the sight and rushed over, then started licking over the cake. How vulgar!
No, Mom. Stop it.
I froze, and my husband desperately stopped her. It was too late. After eating half of the whole cake, small one, she breathed heavily and at me.
I can't believe my precious son is turning 6. Happy birthday to you. Her birthday isn't worth celebrating. Anyway, he's my son. He's mine. Marriage doesn't change anything. Remember that.
She threw her fork on the floor and out her chest triumphantly. I turned to my husband.
Oh, shoot.
He was cowering with his head in his.
What's happening?
When he was about to speak, his mother-in-law's eyes rolled back and she collapsed to the floor. The story goes back some time ago. Marcus and I fell in love at work. I fell in love with him. He had joined the company the same me, and we hit it off right away. We were both big fans of baseball. Often went out to the stadium on our off. It didn't take long for us to become romantically involved. We got married when I was 26. Marcus took the opportunity of to change jobs. We felt a little awkward working in office and the same department. He wanted to take on a new challenge in a different industry that he had always been interested in. Although everyone at the office was disappointed to hear that news, Marcus was determined to pursue his new path. Our colleagues gave us their heartfelt blessings on our marriage and sent with their best wishes. It wasn't just them. Friends and family were excited about our marriage. Well, except for one person.
Hey, Ivy. The mirror in the bathroom is dirty again. It's a place for grooming, but you're very conscious about it. What's with your attitude? Come on, hurry up and clean it. I wonder why Marcus changed his job. Useless person like you. 33.
In her mind, it was my fault that he changed his career. I knew it was pointless to explain, so I headed for the bathroom in silence. The mirror had some water stains, or was it? If I had told her it was nothing, I would have been furious with me, so I cleaned. The main problem after marriage was my mother-in-law, Betsy. She divorced her ex-husband when Mare was still young and raised him on her own. Perhaps that was why she was more overprotective of him than usual. She even insisted we live only 2 stops away from where she lived. She visited us every weekend and brought her dog with her. Eventually, she started coming over. Marcus was out. He picked up on some hobbies and offed out with new friends on his days off. Even though I told her he wasn't there, she kept showing up, and I had no choice but to entertain her. When the mirror was wiped clean, it called me for another task. With a grunt, I headed for the living room to see what was next.
I'm home.
By the time I heard Marcus' carefree voice, it was already evening. The house was spotless from top to thanks to all the things Betsy had.
Oh, you're back.
She rushed to the door. She took off his jacket and walked living room with him.
Hi, honey. 33.
Hey, I brought you some sweets.
Oh, you're so thoughtful.
These are for Ivy and...
Before he could finish, Betsy took pastries from a paper bag and began munching on them. As we watched her without saying, and noticed us and made a sulky face.
Let me be. It's only fair that I get treated the same way as Ivy.
She acted like a child, but I was not in the mood to argue with her. I signaled Marcus with my eyes, and we let her do whatever she wanted to do. When I went to the kitchen to prepare, he followed me for some reason. I needed him to keep an eye on Betsy.
What's up?
Sorry, I was told to attend a meet. Client on Monday. 3.
Really?
Yeah, I got a call from my boss here.
He sounded apologetic because it was his birthday on Monday, and we were surprised to be going out for a nice dinner. We had decided a long time ago that take a day off and spend it together. If he was told to work, then he should do it.
I'm really sorry.
Don't worry. 33.
Then Betsy popped up in the kitchen. Before she could ask us what was going on, Marcus took her back to the living room. I was disappointed, but told myself and started cooking dinner. It was the following night when the reality hit me. Marcus had to prepare for the meeting coming home late. As I was getting ready for bed, I received a message and pictures from a colleague on maternity leave. I opened the app without thinking. Mew was met with an eye-opening text and images.
Sorry, it's so late. This is Marcus, right? I saw him while he was shopping.
There were pictures of him and a younger woman sitting next to each other at. Images showed them happily feeding each other on a terrace and snuggling up in bed. All of them were inexcusable evidence. Seeing him in a suit, they must have met during a break from work. I couldn't sleep that night. I thought about ignoring him, but if he sensed something was up, it might have hindered me from getting more proof. I had to find out more about the woman no matter what it took. I decided to act as normally as possible, trying not to show my anxiety. Then, the day before my birthday, he was going to meet a friend and left as usual. 5 minutes after I saw him off, I as well. I walked quickly toward the station. I had a hunch that he would take It was a 10-minute walk from my house station, so if I hurried, I could catch up with him. As I was walking, unpleasant thoughts keep swirling around in my head. I was sure that all his previous efforts had been to meet the woman. If so, the affair had started 6 months ago. Why? Was he unhappy in his marriage? I was the only one who thought we six well. As I was walking and wiping away, I spotted him. He got on a subway and got off at several stops, and I followed him. After walking for a while, he went small pastry shop. I wondered what in the world he was doing there. Then I saw a woman in an apron come the kitchen. It was her in the pictures. I hurried to photograph the exterior of the shop and them making out as fast as possible. After I returned home, I tried to distract myself. I took pictures but didn't know what with them. Eventually, the sun went down and dinner with Marcus as usual the day was over in a flash. That night, I noticed that Marcus, who was sleeping next to me, had left the bed. The phone on his bedside table was. I wondered if he was going to call. I got out of bed too. He was doing something in the dark kitchen, relying only on the light from the refrigerator. The suspicious movement scared me, turned on the light and called out. Then a paper bag fell from his hand. The name of that pastry shop was Purr. I felt my blood run cold.
Oh, shoot. You caught me. I wanted to make it a surprise for looking in the fridge tomorrow. 33.
He was holding a small-size whole cat. The chocolate plate on top had a writing that said, "Happy birthday, my love." The poor handwriting must have been. He had taken the trouble to write it himself when he should have left it chef. I was sure he didn't want his lover about my existence. Moreover, he wanted me to eat the quiche she baked.
Happy birthday, honey. Since you are here, do you want some?
Thanks, but not now.
Yeah. It's late for a cake. 39.
I didn't want to eat it at all, though I couldn't tell him that. I was too lazy to withdraw my request for a day off, so I stayed home alone on my birthday. After seeing Marcus off, sank into sofa. I pondered what I was going to do. I had to think, but my brain wouldn't work straight. Then suddenly, the doorbell rang. I looked to see who it was and saw standing there looking grumpy. She was the last person I wanted to then, but I couldn't just ignore her. I opened the door with a heavy heart. As soon as she saw me, she told me the front porch because it was messy. I told her to let me get her a drink, but she brushed me off. She didn't want it and just wanted to clean up right away. I returned inside the house after an hour and didn't find her in the room. There was a noise coming from the kitchen. I went to check on her and found her in the freezer.
Betsy?
Startled by my voice, something fell to the floor. It was my birthday cake that was more than half gone. She apparently found it and ate it asking me. She had snatched sweets that Marcus bought for me before, but she saw her eating my birthday cake. While I was completely stunned, her face turned red.
What are you staring at? It means nothing to me that you are to Marcus. He is my only son, and he is always.
She screamed at me with a mouthful of whipped cream. What lay crumbled on the floor was to be my birthday cake. The writing on the sheet of chocolate is almost illegible. It was a whole cake, albeit a small. She ate more than half of it by herself. It wasn't that she loved the cake, more like she couldn't stand my ex. When I remained silent, she threw it down on the floor.
I raised him all by myself. I can't allow you to take him away. I know him better than you do.
She fell to her knees, covering her, began to cry hysterically.
Calm down, Betsy.
Don't touch me. I don't need your sympathy.
She shook my hand off, and I fell onto my bottom from the push. I couldn't stay silent any longer, so I clenched my fists.
His lover made that cake. 33.
What?
That's why I couldn't eat it. Here is the proof. 33.
The moment I showed her the pictures, she mumbled, "Oh, dear God," and collapsed. I rushed to pick her up, but she had already passed out. Her body was limp. I managed to carry her to the sofa and clean up the remnants of the cake. I didn't know what to do, but Marcus answering his phone. I called his office and was told a truth.
Marcus, he's not in today. 33.
I thought he had a meeting with
No. He requested a day off. Oh, but you didn't know.
He was about to say something, but the phone. In the meantime, Betsy opened her eyes. When I handed her a glass of water, covered my hand that was holding the with both of her hands. I had never received such a gesture from before.
Is it true what you said?
Yes, I have other evidence. 39.
When I showed her the pictures my CC had sent me, she let out a deep sigh. That night, as soon as Marcus opened the front door, she stood up to face him. I followed her and saw her standing front of him.
You have something to say, don't you?
What happened? Why are you mad at...
Ivy, the pictures, 1.
I hurriedly showed my phone screen. He agitated for a moment, but then smiled on his face.
Oh, she is one of my clients who I work with. It's kind of a sales technique.
Marcus, be honest.
Cece, no problem.
He knelt on the spot and began to see dye. I was right about them meeting on the weekends for the last 6 months. He asked her to bake a cake, lying would eat it himself. The writing was done by him, as I guess. While listening to him talking, tears streaming down Betsy's face.
I just wanted to have some fun. Honey, you'll forgive me this much.
You know that your dad and I divorced because of his infidelity, right?
Is there any way to get a list of all the users in my organization?
And yet, you are pathetic for hurt. This way.
I gently rubbed her trembling back. He just kept apologizing. A month later, I'm in my spacious talking with Betsy.
I'm so sorry. I apologize for Marcus's infidelity, the way I've been treating you. 33.
It's okay now. His affair is his own problem.
No, I was too attached to him. I thought you were taking my only C from me, and that made me feel lonely. My attitude got to his head and made like a fool.
After that incident, I filed a complaint with the police. He tried to continue the relationship with his lover, but I sent her a note with my marriage certificate, which ended their relationship. She didn't know that he was married, so she immediately dumped him. Because of the call I made to his one rumor of his infidelity and divorce at his work, he is still working there with his colleagues.
What are you going to do now?
I'm selling this house and getting place. I want to start over from scratch.
I hear you.
Please come visit my new house if
Thank you, my dear.
I'm still hurt, but I'm sure this has some meaning. I will try my best, little by little, to write a funny story someday. The gentle light of the sun through the windows shines on us.